Hello everyone, I'm Daria, and I'm a student of International Relationships, group number 2106. In my presentation today, I would like to introduce to you to French culture. Since the 17th century, France has been regarded as a center of high culture. As such, French culture has played a vital role in shaping world's arts, culture, and fashion. In particular, France is internationally recognized for its fashion, cuisine, art, and architecture. Let me begin with the language. While French is the official and dominant language, while of the country spoken by 70 plus million residents, we will also find a small percentage of people speaking German, Arabic, and Italian. Most people associate French culture with Paris, which is a center of fashion, cuisine, and art. Let's talk about architecture. Medieval castles, churches, cathedrals, and more. Romanesque and Gothic, Rococo, and Neoclassic influences can be seen in many churches and apartment buildings, mixed in with some modern architecture. The most recognizable facilities are the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame. The Latin neighborhood is considered one of the brightest attractions. It is famous for its original buildings, narrow streets, parks, palaces, small cafes, and bookstores. Within the neighborhood, there are several of the most visited tourist sites. The Baths of Cluny, Luxembourg Garden, and located on the top of the hill, Saint-Geneviève the Pantheon. It is important to mention French art and the most famous painters. Impressionism in France has definitely turned the idea of painting all around the world. Most famous painters are Edouard Manet, Auguste Renoir, and Claude Monet. The Louvre Museum in Paris is among the world's most largest museums and home to many famous works of art, including the Mona Lisa and Venus de Milo. It is important to mention Montmartre neighborhood. Montmartre Hill is the highest point of Paris. It offers magnificent urban landscapes. Besides, Montmartre can offer travelers a larger number of attractions, temples, museums, vineyards, famous boulevards, squares, and the ceremony Basilica of the Sacred Heart, Sacré-Cœur, located at the highest point of the neighborhood. Now let's take a look at a Botanic Garden. Various exhibitions and thematic excursions help visitors to better understand the peculiarities of each part of garden and appreciate the fragility of wildlife. Let's continue with literature. Since childhood, we have been reading French books. First, the fairy tales of Charles Perrault, then the adventure novels of Jules Verne and Louis Brinson. The literature of France gave the world such famous authors like Alexandre Dumas, Victor Hugo, and Honoré de Balzac. Their works, along with books of Russian classics, are considered the standards of novel all around the world. It is also impossible not to recall the novels of Stendhal, Maupassant, and Émile Zola. One of the oldest higher education institutions in the world is Sorbonne University. Among other things, the Paris Sorbonne is associated with the activities of 51 Nobel laureates in various fields of science and arts. which makes it the 10th in the list of universities all around the world. What about fashion? This element of French culture shouldn't be missed. After all, French are born fashionists. The appearance of French is distinguished by neatness, refinement, and a little bit of conservatism. It is enough to say the names of Chanel Coco, Saint Laurent, Christian Dior, Hubert de Givenchy, and everything becomes clear. This is what we call high fashion. The famous Italian Versace and Armani started their careers in France, Paris as well. What is more, the most famous and important fashion show is held here, Paris Fashion Week. Defense is a modern agglomeration in Paris, located in the northwest suburbs of the French capital. Defense has the status of the largest European business and innovation centers. It is often referred to as the Manhattan of Paris. What about food? In Paris, indeed, there is a cult of food. Even having lunch with colleagues on a working day, a French man will leisurely eat a three-course lunch. No snacks on their own, and of course, no fast food. It seems like the French have always and at all times preferred to sit at a table on the sidewalk slowly sip wine and stare at passers-by. This pastime is the best way to feel the atmosphere and spirit of the city. Now let's move to another part of France, Provence, mainly Marseille. Marseille, the port of Provence, was founded 2,600 years ago. Today it is the second most important French city after Paris. Marseille has a huge harbor, the main advantage and decoration of the city. Marseille has a great variety of culinary traditions. First of all, it is worth mentioning Bulpasar, the most famous fish soup in the world. Seafood, rice with crabs, Provençal stew, meat dish pie paquette are the most famous dishes. Marseille's natural heritage is unique. The image of Provence is drawn by the sun and the sea, mountain plateaus and river gorges, medieval villages climbing to the inaccessible mountain steps. A unique natural attraction of Provence is the Verdun Canyon. The coast in this area is known as a French Riviera. Important to mention are huge plantations of olive trees and grapes. A lot of forests where fields are dotted with flowers and herbs. Traditional souvenirs are perfumes and toilet water. And there is a wine, Côtes de Provence, which is a symbol of Provence. In addition, you can see beautiful historical museums, galleries of modern art, the splendor of architecture of ancient town. The spirit of this region is brilliantly embodied in the canvases of Paul Gauguin. Vincent van Gogh wasn't a Provençal, but it was here that he discovered the brightness of colors and the special light that he had been looking for so long. We can admire balconies of Nice painted by Matisse, a theater festival, and a lot of different carnivals. Lavender Festival are also taking place in many Provençal cities. Moreover, the Provençal language still exists, however, only a small part of the population speaks it today, since it has lost its significance. In conclusion, France reached a worldwide market, and French artists' culinary and sartorial styles influenced the high and popular cultures of nations around the globe. French culture is very peculiar, has its own special distinctive features. Thanks to this, today France attracts thousands of tourists from all over the world. Thank you for your attention.